have a comment section at the end of the meeting. And if you have a question or would like to make a comment, please make sure to address the podium. That way everybody can hear. This is also being streamed on YouTube. So I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Clady Quesada. I'm a lead public relations coordinator here at the Browns Public Utilities Board, and I'm also the PUBCAP liaison.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sergio Martinez, and I am a PUBCAP board member, and I also work at UTRGV.
And we do have staff here from BPUB, experts in their own field, human resources, customer service, water department, finance. So any of the questions that you might have, there might be somebody here who can answer them directly. So if you have any questions, we do have the people here necessary to answer.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Like Clary mentioned, we don't have quorum. Unfortunately, some of our members could not attend for personal reasons, but we'll still continue with our presentation.
That's right. So we will not be voting on the minutes from last November. As far as old business, we did we did not have a meeting in December. So we are having our meeting this month, and they happen on every Wednesday, every third Wednesday of the month. We'll skip through the approval of minutes because we don't have any quorum. As far as new business, it's a brand new year, and as the communications and public relations team would tell you, we have events throughout the year, plenty of outreach opportunities for all of our departments to distribute information about our current stage 2 drought contingency plan. We do have that information going out to all of our customers. Ongoing projects that we do have is, for example, the inspections, backflow and cross connection and backflow inspections that are being done at customers' homes. Right now, the department is focusing on cycle 3 and 4 of our billing. So the customers under cycle 3 and 4 are receiving inspections in their homes, making sure that there's no backflow. So that project is part of a city ordinance, just something I want to remind everyone about. We are still under stage 2 of the drought contingency plan, and today we will be having a presentation by Guadalupe Garcia, who's going to be filling us in on that. And then as far as outreach events, we are getting ready for Child Days and Sombrero Fest, where we distribute information about our current projects, and also stage 2 and any other information that people need to know about.
Okay. So that's new business. Thank you. Now we're moving on to the drought update with Mr. Garcia. If you can please come up and give us an update on our situation.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, good evening, PUBCAP members, general public. Today I'll be reviewing drought update and water conservation tips. Like Lady did mention, we currently are in drought stage 2, so I'll be providing some information in regards to drought stage 2 and also moving into drought stage 3 information. So we're kind of getting prepared if we do get to that stage. So going straight into it, this slide provides information in gray. You can see that's the watershed for the Rio Grande River. So there's 2 main points of interest that are highlighted on this slide. One is the Amistad Dam, and the second one is the Falcon. These reservoirs or dams are where we get our numbers in regards to how much water conserved we have for the entire Rio Grande Valley. So with that in mind, our current percentage for these 2 reservoirs is 22% of normal conservation. And this is below 10% below from last year, this time last year. And here, this graph can show you kind of how we've been leading throughout the 2021 into 2024. So you can see in 2021, we started at 27.5 and ended at 36. 2022, we started at 36 and we ended at 32. For 2023, we started at 32 and we ended at 22. So that was a big drop for last year. This year, we're already starting on here below average, which is at 22%. So our drought stage 2 starts at 25%. And that's for our stage 2. We're already starting the year at drought stage 2. So if trends continue, we're going to be seeing, if we don't get any essential rainfall in those locations, the Amistad and Falcon Dam, then we will be seeing these numbers kind of drop.
I noticed in August, we see a significant increase for 2022. What caused that increase? Was that storm?
That was a rain event that happened
Rain events.
right above the reservoirs. Yes.
Okay. And obviously then we have had similar rain events this year.
Mhm. Yeah, we really haven't had any rain events in those areas. So this graph here, it shows you kind of where we're at. Then green, you can see it's normal. When we're normal, which is above 51%. Below 51%, you start hitting into stage 1. Stage 1 is a voluntary reduction in your water use, and of course, that's voluntary. Currently, we're in drought stage 2, which is below 25%. Like I mentioned, we're at 22 right now, and you can see where that on the graph or the monitor there, you can see where we're currently at. So we're not too far away from that drought stage 3, and we just want to really push that information to the general public that we're not very far away from that drought stage 3, which is 15% or lower. And that will enact surcharges with that drought stage as well, which we'll review those later on in the presentation. So the implementation of the drought, those are implemented by the Brownsville Public Utilities Board Manager and CEO, and also the city mayor. So they have to both agree upon enacting the drought stages. So whether we enact drought stage 1, drought stage 2, or stage 3 as well. So now, whenever they remove it, it's also, they both have to be in agreement in order for them to remove the restrictions. So how did we get into stage 2? There's a total of 5 different conditions. I won't be reviewing everything, but did want to emphasize condition 1. So condition 1 is when we are below 25% in those reservoirs, both Amistad and Falcon combined. So that is the condition 1 was met, and that's why we are currently in drought stage 2. So what are the restrictions for stage 2? So we'll go ahead and start landscape irrigation. So what is allowed? At any time, you're able to water with a handheld garden hose, a soaker hose, drip irrigation system, and or a 5-gallon or similar bucket or water can. What is restricted is irrigation systems, hose and sprinkler systems, and those are restricted for twice per week on your scheduled dates, and you're able to water for that specific date that you fall on from midnight through 7 a.m. or from 7 p.m. through midnight on that specific date. So how does that look like? These are the watering schedule. As an example, this is if you're 1425 Robin Hood Drive, we're going to look at the last digit of your service address, which is in this case 1425 is the number 5. So you'll go to your watering schedule and you're allowed to water on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Another restriction is landscape variances. So if you do have new landscape that you include, or you have a new home, or you also have a new commercial business, and you would do improvements to your house and you have new landscape, you're allowed to file for a variance in which says you're pretty much wanting to water every day so you can, um, uh, I guess, establish those plants or sod. So you'll go through Brownsville PUB, you'll submit a variance request via mail, email, or you can go through our website. And once you're there, Brownsville PUB will review the submittal and issue an authorization notification if granted. So the variance approvals, they're approved for 4 weeks, and that's calculated from the day of the plan. And you can also do a renewal or extension. However, you will still have to do a reapplication and go through that entire process all over again. Now for vehicle washing is also restricted for those two times per week on your scheduled dates. And you're able to water or vehicle wash your vehicle at your residence from midnight through 10 a.m. and from 7 p.m. through midnight. Now, we do recommend for you to use a bucket no larger than 5 gallons, or to use a positive shut-off nozzle. Car wash fundraisers, they have to follow the same schedule as the residential schedule. Commercials, you are allowed to do vehicle washing at commercial businesses, and that's allowed at any time. And we do recommend, and this is part of our water conservation plan for Brownsville PUB, that customers do not to wash their vehicles more than 2 times per month, and that's just to allow for water conservation throughout the entire city. Now, golf courses, restaurants, and also hard wash businesses, they do have to follow certain restrictions. For golf courses, they submit a water management plan, and that has to be reviewed by Brownsville PUB and also approved. For restaurants, now in drought stage 2, they're prohibited from serving water to non-employees except when requested. For hard surfaces, that's prohibited for non-essential washing, such as like sidewalks, driveways, parking lots, homes. Water for dust control, we do recommend to keep that at a minimum, and also unless it's a health hazard, to not have that water being used. Flushing of gutters is prohibited, and also failing to repair leaks. So going into drought stage 3, there's a total of 5 conditions as well. Now, one of the conditions that it's more likely for us to meet will probably be condition number 1, which is whenever our reservoirs reach 15% or lower. But nevertheless, these other 5 conditions are still placed there in case they're ever needed, that we're not able to provide the demand for the city. So those conditions are there as well. So how does that look like? For landscape irrigation, same rules apply, except for instead of 2 times per week, now you're only going to be allowed 1 time per week, right? The hours stay the same, and what you're able to use as far as the to water is still remains the same. So the only thing that changes is the times per week. For landscape variance, you will have to do the entire process, go through the entire process again, of course, and these you're still allowed for variance for 4 weeks. Now, instead of watering at any time, you're going to have to water with the schedule for drought stage 2. So you're not allowed to water at any time anymore. You have to follow those specific 2 days for your watering schedule. For vehicle washing, for residential, you're only going to be allowed your same watering schedule. It's only going to be 1 time per week instead of that twice per week. Commercial, they're allowed at any time with this current plan. And the recommendation, of course, is for customers to not wash their vehicles more than 2 times per month. Now, something new with drought stage 2 is resacas. Now, resacas and or any scenic recreational ponds, we're gonna stop feeding the resacas. The water is gonna be used for municipal purposes only, right? So we're not gonna be putting extra water in there. Additionally, we will ask customers to stop getting water for irrigation purposes from resacas. as to not deplete that water source much faster. So that is something new that we're going to be seeing, you will see in drought stage 3. Another new item is surcharges. So surcharges they're going to be implemented in order for us to try to minimize the amount of water being used by our customers. So with residential, you're going to be allowed 10,000 gallons of water for a residential home. If you're using more than 10,000 gallons, per 1,000 gallons, you're going to be charged 1.5 times the current water rate. Now, with commercial businesses, instead of having a set amount, you're going to have a 12-month average, and then we're going to take 80% of that. That's going to be your new water threshold. So from there, if you use more than that 12-month average, 80%, you're going to be charged a 1.25 times the current water rate. When it comes to irrigation, so the water use, that's going to be the last residential block, and that's going to be at 1.5 times the current water rate, how we currently have it in our plan.
I'm sure this is probably the biggest area customers will have concerns on. What are some of the plans to notify them if we ever go to that stage?
Yeah, so even before we get to that stage, so that's why we're starting these talks right now,
Yeah.
right? If in the event that we do get to that stage, right? So we want to really talk and provide this information out to customers. Not just that, we're doing outreach activities, and we're going out to schools and we've been going out to the zoo. And providing information out to the public in regards to drought stage 2 and stage 3, in addition to water conservation. And going into water conservation tips. So how can you help to conserve water where it's needed the most? So simple items such as, using a glass when you're brushing your teeth instead of having the tap open, right? That can save you anywhere from 1 to 2 gallons of water. When you're washing dishes, instead of washing each individual dish, when you don't have a dishwasher, right? Use a bassinet and fill it up with water, and you're able to wash your dishes from there. You can save an average of 5 gallons per wash. They're washing clothes with a full load. It's much better, and you use less water whenever you're considering the entire wash of your clothes. So anywhere from 6 to 14 gallons of water per wash, depending on your washer. Upgrading toilets or using what is also called a toilet tank bank. It's what you put in the toilet on the top, and it's pretty much a little reservoir that prevents your toilet from using, instead of using 3 gallons, it uses 2, right? Because it offsets that. So that can save anywhere from 1 to 3 gallons of water per flush. Other items such as taking a shower instead of a bath, limiting your time at 5 minutes. I know this is a very difficult one for a lot of people. 5 minutes is like that's very difficult. But depending on how long you take in the shower, that can save you anywhere from 3 to 20 gallons of water per shower. That adds up pretty quick. When you're washing your car, you can use a bucket, right? A 5-gallon bucket, and you can save anywhere from 10 to 50 gallons of water per wash. Checking leaks. This is a big one. Sometimes we don't see it, and just going around the house, and sometimes the faucet is dripping, or your toilet is sometimes water's going through the toilet, right? And that is also considered a leak. And that can save you anywhere from 1 to 1,000 gallons of water per month, which is a significant amount. And also watering your plants early in the morning or late evening. This kind of falls into our watering schedule to water early in the morning or late in the evening. And that is to prevent a lot of water evaporation. So that can save an average of anywhere from 5 to 50 gallons of water. And with this water tips, I do conclude this presentation. If there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you so much for this great information. The only question I had was just the enforcement side. Is this something PUBs check? How do you guys check, or how?
Yes, so currently we do have personnel going out and about, and they are checking if there's any sprinkler systems that are on during the day that are not supposed to, or outside their watering days. So we're currently monitoring all of that right now for the drought stage 2. And of course, if we go into drought stage 3, those efforts will continue.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I want to take a moment to welcome Mr. Patino. He just joined us. You want to say hello for the record?
Sorry for being late.
No, you're okay. Thank you for joining us. We're moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the project share updates and fund reappropriation. We have a speaker. You want to go to the mic and introduce yourself?
Good evening, PUBCAP members. My name is Jose Amaya. I am the billing manager for PUB. And as mentioned, I'm going to be covering the one of our utility assistance programs, which is called Project Share. And we made some changes a couple of months ago, and I'm going to go ahead and cover what those changes are. So first, in case you're not familiar, the purpose of this program is meant to help BPUB customers. There's times that people are financially strapped, they go through a distress time in their life, and we want to have some sort of way to help them out. In this case, this program particularly focuses on those that are in financial distress, they're elderly, they have extreme medical expenses, may be disabled, have funeral expenses, or maybe are also facing some sort of unemployment. What we went to the board and sought to amend really were two specific sections. The first one had to do in regards to an amendment that was done at the beginning of 2020 because of COVID. And that's what is being referred to as the COVID emergency rider. And the second thing that we wanted to do was, as I mentioned in the timeline, we wanted to reappropriate the funds that were already in the program to be able to be continued to be used to help our customers. So a little bit of the timeline. Back in March 26, 2020, BPUB enacted the COVID-19 pandemic response plan. On April 13, 2020, Brownsville Public Utilities Board also voted to allocate surplus improvement funds in the amount of $2 million to expand share in order to provide customer relief. Now, at this point in time, that's when the original share program changed a little bit because of these changes that we made and the money that was allocated. One of the changes that also happened was a change to the criteria of the share program. In order to help those that were being affected by COVID, one of the emergency rider was extended in order to provide assistance to those who were underemployed or unemployed because of the COVID-19 outbreak. Back in March of last year, March 10, 2023, BPUB announced the deactivation of the COVID-19 pandemic response plan. And even on May 11th of last year as well, that marked the end of the federal COVID-19 public health emergency declaration. So the fact that 3 years later have already passed, we needed to also amend our guidelines to make sure that the program, the way it exists, was also in compliance with what's happening out there in the world. But let's talk a little bit about funding. The way it works, and this is before any money was allocated, this program is actually 100% funded through BPUB employee donations, BPUB customer donations, and also through sponsored events by PV. So here are the donation amounts from 2020 until 2023. You can see in the 2020, for example, we have $25,000 donated. In 2021, that dwindled to $10,000. For 2022, that amount decreased to just $28. And in 2023, the total amount donated was $39.52. Therefore, that was the other situation that we were facing. As we amend the program, as of right now, at least the way it was initially toward the end of the year, there was no additional funding to help out our community. The only way that we were going to be able to help our community would be through the reappropriation of the funds as the program had been modified to be. So what were the requested changes? Again, we wanted to remove the COVID-19 emergency rider, and we wanted to reappropriate those funds currently at $1.3 million to the actual share program. That would allow us to, once again, any member of our community that needed help, that applied and met the guidelines, to be able to receive us. Here's just a visual snapshot really of what it looked like. You can see that there's very minimal changes, but this is just a visual, so you can kind of see the one on the right is really what the program would end up looking once we remove that specific criteria. And that specific criteria on the left-hand side, you can see that it's being crossed out in red. So very minimal. Now, the good thing about it, though, even though we're requesting, for example, to remove the specific criteria stating that COVID-19 as its own entity should no longer be looked into it as a requirement, that doesn't affect the program or the ability for our customers to apply, because there is a criteria already that states that any time that there's a medical emergency, our customers are able to apply for assistance. So by removing that, it wouldn't have had a negative impact on our customers, those seeking assistance. So the board did approve in November 2023, the BPUB board approved to update the share program guidelines, again, allowing us to remove the emergency rider, and also allowing us to reappropriate the funding the way it was to allow our customers to use as needed as they apply. However, we wanted to make sure that that information was understood as best as possible. So one of the things that we also launched in the fall of last year is we launched our community partnership. And really what this was, and what it continues to be, is us focusing on delivering and making sure that any information that's relevant to our customers is really as clear as possible. And how do we do that? Well, we began holding 30-minute sessions available for the public. Whoever wanted to sign up had the ability to join our website, sign up for one of those meetings that we have made available, and they were able to kind of come in-house and actually listen to one of the presentations on the program, how to apply, what is available to them. And we've actually, since November 28th up until January 12th, we've been able to hold up a total of 10 sessions for them to be able to join us. And they have actually been able to, come in, and we've been able to present, and we've been able to answer any questions that they may immediately have. We do plan on continuing this process. However, when it comes to assistance programs, this is just one of several that we actually have available. And what that means is that we also want to make sure that we educate our community about other assistance that's available out there for them to apply. So we will still continue to rotate the information that we have out there. But this is one of the things that we were able to do to make sure that they understood what assistance was there available to them. And that actually wraps it up. What questions do you have about this particular change?
This is great. I'm glad that we were able to reallocate that funding and make more funding available for more customers out there. And maybe not now, but I would love to hear how many customers have benefited from Project Share and all the other support programs.
Yes, we have sometimes I can tell you that we had about over 3 million funding that was between the state level and these programs as well, made available to our customers for last fiscal year.
3 million, that's
Yeah,
great.
It is quite a bit. And if you have any specific numbers, we can actually provide them to you. But going forward, just so you know, we will be reaching out to the members of PUBCAP, because one of the things that we want to do, as you saw, that money that was reallocated, that's no longer going to grow. BPUB will not fund that. Remember, this program will be funded by customer donations, employee donations, and any BPUB sponsored events. So we are looking forward to getting some input as to what could help out to bring in more donations, because that's really one of the programs that we can, when it comes to share, we can definitely say that 100% BPUB funded for our community.
Yeah, that sounds like a great initiative. Maybe we can discuss it
In the upcoming months.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Very good. You have any questions?
No.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, we have our recruitment efforts. And do we have a speaker lined up for that?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Joe Paredes. Close to this. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
I have to lean into this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
We can hear you.
All right, so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Talent Acquisition and Staffing Department. And so this department focuses on recruiting, hiring, and retention for the utility. It is made up of 4 staff members, including myself. And I've got 2 recruiting specialists that work with me, as well as a representative. Together, our team takes care of all of the recruitment, hiring and retention needs for the utility. Okay, so what we do is we're responsible for developing the strategies, tactics, and processes for identifying and recruiting the talent for BPUB. Developing and implementing evaluating programs, sourcing, recruiting, hiring is really what we focus on. And as part of that, we have to assess the current and future of the utility. And so to do this, we use a few tools. The biggest is an applicant tracking system. It's a third-party system. People Admin is the provider. And so this is a cloud-based system that handles all our advertising, our application process, the screening that we do for the utility. All the applications that come in are done through this platform. And the link to this, or the address, is bpubcareers.com. And so this is where everybody who's looking to apply for a position here at PUB will have to use that source channel to apply. Now, we do use some different recruiting websites. All these are on the right. There are third-party websites that we'll utilize. Most of them are free. Some of them we do pay either an annual fee, or we will pay per advertisement, just depending on the position. And then on occasion, we'll use some very specific third-party sites specific to an industry, like say engineering. And in addition to this, some of the other efforts that we have is partnering with local colleges, universities, to try to funnel in new talent into BPUB. Again, looking at specific qualifications that they might be graduating with for some of these programs. So the hiring strategies that we use in the selection process, we have interviews. We do behavioral style interviews here at BPUB. We'll have assessments depending on the position. Those might something that's more administrative, and then at times we'll get some very highly technical assessments that we'll have to complete for the positions. We complete pay rate analysis, and so what we do with this is we look at applicants' experience as it relates to the position, and we will come up with a pay rate, essentially looking at the relevant years of experience they have as it relates to the job description, and then we will calculate a rate that we'll recommend for hire. So we don't just go by the gut and decide we're going to hire this person at whatever rate. We have a very specific calculator that we follow for recommendations. And then as part of making job offers, we also roll out a complete benefits package. We call it a total compensation package. And so we'll combine our salary with the benefits to try to attract these candidates as we're making offers. And then shortly after the offer is accepted, we get started with the pre-employment process. Now, this includes background screening, a drug test, physical examination. Should any of that not be completed successfully, at that point, we'll go into our adverse action process, which is where we rescind the offer and go from there. So retention strategies, really this comes into play when we have somebody that might come to us with an external job offer from another agency, another organization. And so once we do this, we'll meet with management, have a conversation on whether we want to retain this talent, and we'll essentially do a bit of an interview with this employee, should the decision be made that we do want to retain them. And during that interview, we ask the employee what the requirements are of us as an employer, what they'd like to see, what they'd like to get in terms of either compensation, change in title, assignments, et cetera, et cetera. And so we'll start working on that to try to retain, again, the top talent as we see it for continued productivity. We want to avoid turnover costs if we can, and then obviously not have to go through the recruitment process to try to, hopefully reduce that knowledge gap that we'll be losing by this separation. And then we also oversee the internship programs here at BPUB. So we've got one of the I should say the bigger program that we admit college internship program, and that lasts for 3 months, 12 weeks over the summer. It's a full-time paid internship program, and we'll advertise on a website that's called Handshake, and it connects a bunch of the universities in Texas. And so we'll blast this advertisement out, and we've had students from A&M, Kingsville, Corpus, and College Station. We've had people from Austin, Our Lady of the Lake, of course, also our local university here, UTRGV. And so really it's open to juniors, seniors, and graduate level students. And the reason for this is we want to try to catch these students really at the tail end of their studies, so that we know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right? The whole purpose of this is to prepare us to the next generation of talent, right? And so we're always, the intent of this is at the end of each program, we kind of do an evaluation of all the students, and if there's a shining star amongst them, we either try to recruit them for a full-time opportunity at that point, or we kind of plant the seed, so as they get closer to graduation, we can start to try and find an opportunity for them. So that's the purpose of that internship. And then we also have a partnership with TSC with their accounting program. So they'll send over a student or two once a year, and they'll work in a part-time basis. Now this is a non-paid internship, but the agreement that we have with TSC is they're given credit toward their last semester of school, so they're able to kind of expedite a graduation. And we just started 2 students this past Monday from that program. In 3, we did hire the intern that we had into a full-time position with our accounting department. So that was very successful. And then we've also done a number of them in the last few years. Home to Texas is a partnership with the University of Texas at Austin. And we've also worked with APPA on a deed internship where they were placing somebody at a highly technical position in one of our departments. So these are just some statistics from last year, 2023. So we received 1,400 applications. We advertised over 75 positions for those applications. The average day to fill a position for us, now this goes from posting, from actually advertising to making the offer, the average was 68 days. And so there's obviously some time that occurs after the separation, but before we post. At times we'll get together with management to evaluate the vacancy and make a decision on whether that position needs to be advertised as is, or we need to work on reclassifying, perhaps moving it to a different location, different department, et cetera, et cetera. So there is some time before that. And then certainly after the job offer is made, as I mentioned before, we do have a pre-employment process and that, so that obviously adds to those days. We did have over 300 interviews last year and made almost 140 full-time job offers. That's what I have. Any questions?
That's great. Thank you. How many job openings do we currently have right now?
So we are advertising currently 9 positions. We do have 52 vacancies. Now, with that said, while we're only advertising for 9, that doesn't mean we're not actively seeking for more. So other of those positions are in transit at some point, either, again, we're reclaiming, we could have made an offer already, they're going through the background process, or maybe we've already made the job offer and they're going through the pre-employment. Sometimes they'll have to give notice, especially when we hire candidates that have to relocate. You know, typically the 2-week notice is not customary. We're looking at closer to 30 days, if not longer. So the rest of those positions could be somewhere into there. And then sometimes the positions that we advertise for, we might only have 1 advertisement, but it's to fill 5 positions. So take a meter reader or a maintenance worker, for instance, we might only advertise 1, but we're going to hire 5 from the pool of candidates. So that also adds to that number.
Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we're going to transition now to our public comments section. If there are any community members here present that would like to speak, do we have a signing sheet? How are we handling that, or?
No, you can feel free to come up to the podium and state your name, and you can feel free to make a comment if you'd like.
Do we have anyone who would like to make a public comment?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today. If you have any questions, you can, someone can give you an email. Maybe you would like to ask a question, but maybe via email or privately. Feel free to request an email from someone. We'd be more than happy to assist you with anything you may need. And I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be here. And I hope that next month we'll have a full quorum.
Yes, I mean, I think with the weather and a lot of changes happening, it's been tough for people to get around. So, and definitely want to recognize all the employees at PUB. I know the last 2 days, I'm sure, have been hectic with the cold weather, and I'm sure it's been stressful for our system. So I want to thank all the linemen and all staff out there doing their keep the power running. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. We'll conclude the meeting and hope to see you the 3rd Wednesday of every month.
Thank you. Thank you.